Hello and welcome to People's Perspectives. I'm Kevin Dooney and my guest today is Brendon.
Hello.
Alright, so first question, what is your gender and how did you come to realize it?
My gender is transmasculine non-binary, and my identity's kind of evolved over a couple of years. When it first came out, I identified as a trans guy, then I identified as a demi-boy, and then non-binary, and then now transmasculine non-binary.
For those who don't know, what's the difference between non-binary and transmasculine non-binary?
The only difference is that transmasculine non-binary people are more aligned with traditionally masculine things, but we still don't actually identify with male. We're still non-binary. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Cool. Would you agree that the growing acceptance of non-binary people and growing prominence in society has gradually changed the nature of fashion as a form of self-expression and as an industry?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Androgyny has become, it's really in right now, which I think is really helpful in helping people learn that it's okay to express yourself in things that might not traditionally be quote-unquote appropriate for their gender.
Have you ever been treated differently by your peers due to being related to a celebrity?
When I was in, I think it was first grade, everyone in the school knew who I was related to, and they would ask me for if I could get her autographs, or if they could get invited to my birthday so they could meet her. These were people that I'd never spoken to before. Who are you? Why are you trying to talk to me?
Has that made it tougher to find people who like you for who you are rather than who you're related to?
Not really, because usually people there are rumors about it, but no one knows for sure. So I'll be friendly with someone initially, and usually if they're only trying to be my friend to get close to my aunt, I can tell immediately, and I know okay, this person's not worth my time.
That sounds kind of annoying.
Yeah, it definitely is. Especially I'm extremely white, so usually when people find out who I'm related to, they're wait, so you're Puerto Rican? I'm yeah. How though? And then I just have to explain my entire family history to them in order for them to leave me alone.
How has being related to a celebrity made you think about the idea, or perhaps the futile pursuit, of equal opportunity in America?
Well, when my aunt made that post, she, that definitely opened my eyes that I could help other non-binary and other trans people, get their voices heard, and to help, just educate the general public about what it means to be non-binary, and what it means to be trans and part of this community. Because typically the only things you see are stories look at this, isn't this so weird? So I wanted to, help share a story that's, it's really not weird, it's just my life.
Do you think that the topic of the complexity of gender and gender expression earns a place in the education system across America?
I definitely think so, because there are people in my school who've never met a trans person before, and as soon as I meet them, I have to explain every different part of my identity to them, because they didn't know that those were a thing. They didn't know that, gender wasn't just black and white. It actually works out well in my school, because we actually have a SUNY racism, classism, sexism class, where we, talk about gender, and we talk about, race, evidently, because it's in the name. But, it's definitely a really good place, because people get to ask these questions that they normally wouldn't feel comfortable asking, or didn't have a place to ask.
Do you think that having agender and trans people in general in the government would help ensure that their voices are heard?
I definitely think so. Because, it's always nice to feel represented in movies and TV shows and, music, things like that. But where it'll really make a difference would be in government, where people who are actually making these big decisions will, they will have a perspective that we share. They will be able to give us a voice that we normally wouldn't be able to have.
So this is just something that came to mind because of previous interview I had. Do you believe that there is a stigma associated with specifically agender people that is not present towards trans people in general? Because when I was talking to Ella, they said that there's like a less understanding towards being non-binary rather than just like being trans in general.
Yeah, because like with like binary trans people, like that's more, it's easier for like cisgender people to understand, because like their mind is going from one to the other. It's not questioning like the structure of gender itself. Whereas being like non-binary and agender is like rejecting that entire system, which like people have issue with, and especially if you use they them pronouns, that's a whole nother layer of explanation that you have to go through.
Do you believe that the hostility between cisgender people and those who are otherwise exists because there are inherently bad people, or a lack of understanding?
I think it's a lack of understanding, because no one is born hating other people. Like, that's something that you're taught. It's something that you learn from those around you. And if it can be learnt, it can be unlearned. So I think the best way to like bridge that gap is to like sit down and have a meaningful conversation and bridge these like gaps of understanding and help different communities ask questions that they don't know the answer to, or they don't feel comfortable asking what the answer would be. So I think it's definitely down to just like communication.
Was your family accepting towards your gender identity, or was there some reluctance?
Yeah, there's definitely been reluctance. There's been like some pushback as well. Like one of my grandmas called and offered me $1,000 to go back to being a girl.
Oh, that's
and
so
I was like,
oh my god,
no, that's not how it works.
Oh my god.
And they still don't really like get it. They don't understand like how you can not have a gender, or not have a binary gender, I should say. But making little steps, like getting them to use my pronouns, like that's the first step, and they're gradually getting there. They're getting there, but it takes time, you know?
That sounds so frustrating.
Yeah, it definitely can be. Especially if some of my relatives like just don't even use my right name. They use my dead name.
Oh my god. That I can't even imagine what that's like.
It makes Christmas dinner pretty awkward.
How has the person you've grown to be influenced your political perspective?
I feel like because I am part of a minority group, I'm more open to hearing other people's perspectives. I'm more open to like being like, okay, this person isn't feeling heard. I felt that way before. Like, what is this person trying to say? Like, I think that people should be able to have a voice, and if their ideology isn't hurting anyone, then they should be able to share.
Why do you believe that there is such a rift in politics and society today?
I think it's just something inherent to human nature. Like, we like patterns, we like having things broken up into different orders and categorizing things. And the same thing applies to humans. We like to like break people into these different categories and sorting them so that we can be like, I am these things, you are those things, and we are different, which supports this sort of like us versus them idea, where like, okay, this person falls into these categories that we've created. They are inherently different, and generally speaking, the idea is, okay, this person is different from me, they are less than me, which isn't true, because like all of these categories are just things that humans have decided have value. Like, we're all just people trying to like live our lives.
What do you think should be done to make America a better and more equal place for everyone?
We definitely have a long way to go. I'm not totally sure how we would go about doing it, other than raising each other's voices up and telling those in power, like these people are here, they're here, and they deserve to be heard. So like supporting one another and accepting differences and encouraging cultural diversity is the key, making like America a more accepting place.
Well, thanks for talking to me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This was People's Perspectives. I'm Kevin Doney. I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next video. Bye.